So the first thing that hacker says is they go after the lowest hanging fruit, right? Just like basically humans are a little bit lazy, and if we can do something easy, we're going to do it easy versus doing it hard. So scammers are no different. So the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest thing to get into in the internet, the lowest hanging fruit are passwords, right? The passwords are the key to get into your accounts. So they're going to look for easy passwords, people that don't reset your passwords or you use ABC 123. You don't have complex passwords. You use your dog's first name. You use one of your grandchildren's names for your password. All those type of things are easy passwords for hackers to figure out. So really what you need to do is protect your password and make them complex. Now, we know the problem with making them complex is then it's also harder for us to remember them. And the other thing is you can't make all your passwords the same for every website, because then if they do crack into it, they have the ability to get into every website. So there's a couple of different ways that we can try to protect ourselves. One is using a password manager. This is an application you would install on your smartphone or your laptop, tablet, whatever it is you use. And then you allow the password manager to set complicated passwords for each of your accounts as you enter them and give them permission to do so. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot more time on the password manager simply because Get Set Up has a class on the password manager. So if you have an interest in finding more out about the password manager, I would suggest you sign up for that class. Wade gives the class and it's called Password Manager. He goes over all the details of it. I will say briefly that most of these password managers you can get in for free. They will offer you a higher level of service for a cost. That higher level of service isn't for more security. It's for more options that don't have anything to do with protecting your security. So you do not have to pay for these good password managers if you're so inclined. So what it does is it automatically gives a unique password to each of the websites you ask it to. And all you need to remember is one super password to get into the overall password manager. So you do want to make that a pretty complex one, but then it makes passwords for you and all your other accounts. The other way to do it, if you're not comfortable, if you want to keep everything close to you, is probably to use, get some sentences or some thoughts that make sense to you and nobody else. So I'll give you an example. Way back when I was in high school or junior high school, and I still remember it, that was a long time ago, when we were trying to remember the planets, and more specifically, the order of the planets outward from the sun, there was a sentence that was, Mary's velvety eyes made Jack sit up at night, period. So the first letter of each of those words was the key to a planet and in the order they were in. So Mary, that's Mercury for the M in Mary. Velvety was V for Venus, eyes, E for Earth, all the way out to the end. So if you can do something like that, some kind of sentence that makes sense to you and nobody else, you can use that as your guide as to what the password is going to be. You can use the first letter of each of those words. You may want, if it's an S, you might want to change it to a $sign. If it's L or something, you might want to change it to a pound sign. Just different things that make sense to you. Or an A might be the ampersand. And so now you're generating a pretty complex password. It's relatively easy for you to remember, but difficult for somebody else to break into and crack. So protect your passwords. Most experts say you should probably change them every 6 months. But you need to at least make sure that they are secure, not common and not something that somebody can pick up. Another form that doesn't get a lot of press compared to the others is the credit fraud. And what this is basically somebody pretends like they're you and is able to get a credit card in your name. And then immediately upon getting the credit card, they change the address of where it's going So you never know about it. And they run up credit card bills for thousands of dollars. And after 3 or 4 or 5 months, the credit card company will realize they're not getting paid anything. They'll do a little research. They'll find out your true address, and they will then start sending you bills for this. So there are 4 pieces of information that are needed to gain your credit. 2 of them are very easy. Your name and address. Quite honestly, just about anybody can get your name and address on the internet. The other 2 are a little bit harder. It's your actual date of birth, including the year, and your social security number. So I want to encourage you to think about protecting those. You should, on a limited, very limited basis, be giving that information out. Now, I know when you call your doctor's office nowadays, and the old days, 4 or 5 years ago, you would call your doctor's office and they asked you for your social security number. They don't do that anymore, but they will ask you for your date of birth. So remember, if you've precipitated the call, if you made the call, this is the doctor's office number that you're calling, and they ask for your date of birth, that's okay, because you're controlling that call. But if somebody calls you and they say they're from your doctor's office and they want to confirm who you are, let's start with your date of birth, that's when you get a little bit leery, right? If it is, you can hang up and you can call the doctor's office directly. You want to control it to make sure that you are talking to your doctor's office. So a way to help protect you from something like this is what's called a credit freeze. So I'm going to go over a little bit. I will give you in the closing report, if you signed up for this class, you'll get an email from Get Set Up. It's really something I put together regarding this class, and I will include it. But there are 3 major credit bureaus out there. Experian is one of them. TransUnion is another one, and Equifax is the third. They're the ones that basically monitor your credit. So if I apply for a credit card, the credit card company is going to go to one or more of these 3 credit monitoring agencies and check on my credit. So what you can do is actually create a credit freeze. And what a credit freeze means is nobody, including you, can review your credit or have a report sent to you on your credit. So again, I will give you the contact information, both the phone numbers and email address, on how to freeze your credit with the 3 credit card agencies. And to do this effectively, you have to freeze your credit with all 3 of them. So what that means is nobody, including you, can get